The best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmet's casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Tick your tech. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just dropped. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted to come around.
Welcome back, DFS Army. It is FantasyFling for one final look at the Milly Maker, what took it down week 18, and then really what we can draw from the entire season as we begin to look to next season. You know, what we can take away, what we can learn, and, you know, try to apply to next season. However, we are going to continue to do some MME review as far as the playoff slates go. That's something that, you know, the small game slates, we want to continue to look at top pro strategy for those type of slates so we can continue to be better at those going into next season. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so my article over up at dfsarmy.com. Week 18, the DraftKings Milly Maker. I know a lot of people didn't even want to play it just because it was going to be so wild. You know, and really, it's funny because I played the same amount of cash games and, you know, smash cash as usual. But the thing about week 18 that's crazy is we can study all the different playoff scenarios and, you know, and make our educated guesses on what we think the coaches are going to do, but we don't know. And really, this couldn't be more evident than Keenan Allen being in the winning Milly Maker build in a game that he had really had no business playing. Like, Brandon Staley should not have played his starters because they had nothing to gain from that game. And then he went ahead and played their starters. Mike Williams got hurt, and then they lost the game anyway. They were trying to get momentum going to the playoffs. So backfired as high as you can go. Just unbelievable backfire. But however, the guy that won the Milly Maker, Steve Nebraska 55, he liked it. It didn't backfire on him when he built Keenan Allen in his lineup. So this lineup that took it down, obviously it was a low scoring week, which was pretty wild because 13 game slate, right? You think there's plenty of games for this slate to just pop off and to be, you know, a normal Milly Maker week. But so many studs sat, and, you know, a lot of teams just weren't really pushing the pace. And we got a low scoring week. So the lineup that we had was Joe Burrow, Cam Akers, Zach Moss, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Jamar Chase, Isaiah Likely, Devontae Parker, and Colt Steve. So what we had was a skinny stack, a quarterback +1 with Isaiah Likely as a bringback. So Burrow, Chase with Isaiah Likely as a bringback. That was your primary. And then 2 secondary stacks. So Zach Moss, 24 points, Colts D, 13 points. And then the stack that really won it for this lineup was Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy in that Denver and Los Angeles game. So he had 154 points from the total stacking points, and then total stacking ownership was 74%. I'm glad I didn't have to write about Davis Mills. I'll just say that. And, you know, one last thing as we look at, you know, the entire 2022-23 season, and as far as stacking goes, we basically saw a split right down the middle between quarterback +1 and quarterback +2. Now, bringbacks weren't always forced. In fact, we're gonna look at some of these trends here. The entire 2022 season, weeks 1 through 18. This is what we dealt with stacking. So week 1, when Rapid Fire XD, DFS Army VIP took it down, won the Milly Maker, he had a quarterback +1. He had 2 secondary sacks, which we see a lot with winning Milly Maker builds. Quarterback +1. When you have a quarterback +1, you will normally have 1 to 2 secondary stacks of, 2 players on average for each of those stacks. So we had a quarterback +1, week 1, week 3, week 5. We also saw week 6 quarterback plus wide receiver that had to bring back quarterback. And this was the Justin Fields week 10 was pretty wild. Quarterback plus bring back. Week 11 quarterback plus wide receiver plus bring back, quarterback plus running back, quarterback plus wide receiver plus bring back. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, 9 total weeks with less than a quarterback if you include the quarterback plus the bring back, less than a quarterback +2, and then you had 9 weeks of a quarterback +2. Now, when you had a quarterback +2, you had a bring back here, 3 bring backs. This was the crazy Detroit and Seattle game. And then quarterback +2, quarterback +2, quarterback +2 plus bring back, quarterback +2 plus bring back, quarterback +3, quarterback +3 and a bring back, quarterback 1, 2 +2 and a bring back. So pretty much down the middle. When the quarterback +2, more times than not, it did have a bring back. So I think that's definitely something to consider going forward. The total amount of stacked players that we had on a given week was 5.5. The lowest we had was 2. We had a 3, another 3, but most weeks, 6, 4, 6, 7, 5, 7, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 6, 6, 6, and 7. So typically you want to have over 5 stacked players in your Milly Maker builds. As something to consider going forward, of course. And then the next thing we're going to look at is ownership. So this lineup had a total ownership of 99%, which I guess not really surprising, right? With so many starters sitting out, we all knew there was just going to be random player combinations and we were going to get a contrarian lineup. So, I think I set the domination station over at DFS Army at like 90% max exposure or, total ownership, 90%, but it hit slightly above that, but you can easily have seen this week going even below that. So there was just a lot of uncertainty and so many value plays. The plays weren't obvious, right? There was a lot of them. So, Keenan Allen is a perfect example. Nobody expected him to play. Well, he ended up playing and he played the full game just about. So he was 1% owned. And I think it was just a fitting finish to the contrarian lineup run that we had seen since week 10. 99 total ownership, 99%. It really helped keep the seasonal average just under 110%. And we had 108% over 18 weeks. So when we look at that too, starting week 1, we had 111%, and then it was 95, 83. Couple chalk smash weeks, 121, 128. And then we had a very contrarian week and then just a real chalk smash for a month, basically 189, 174, 125, 147. This month was really what kept it high. Other than that, it was low after that. So 65, 103, 106, 87, 79, 102, 77, and 99%. So 108% total. More in line with exactly what we saw in 2022 or 2021 rather. So, that amount of entries, 170,000 plus, early on in the season, mid-season, you'll see, 250,000 in the Milly Maker. These numbers typically are going to hold true from year to year. So with this lineup that we saw win, the top leverage plays, pretty self-explanatory. Keenan Allen, and really was a leverage stack. So Keenan Allen, he was the top play on the entire slate, scoring wise, 33 points, 1% ownership, just the epitome of leverage. And then using a game stack with Jerry Jeudy, great ending to the 2022 season. him and Russ, they had a deep connection in this game. 5 receptions only, but 154 yards. Russ and him just kept going deep. So great leverage off of, lineups with a lot of higher price studs. A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, CD Lamb. They were all from anywhere from 11 to 22% owned. And then last, Devontae Parker, he was 1% owned, 3,700. He smashed almost 26 points. You could say he salary, fantasy points per dollar, leverage, all the things. He was arguably the best play on the entire slate. And then pricing and value. So, we look at this because it really helps you identify lineup constructions and, how you can fit certain builds, certain stacks and whatnot into the lineup. So Parker and Likely, these are the plays that made this lineup because they both hit over 7x their salary and they were extremely cheap, averaging 3,200 a piece. So that allows you to fit in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, which for all intents and purposes, this stack was trash. 7,300, 8,400, and got 269x, less than 2x. Burrow salary only scored 12 points, just not good. But the value that you got from those two can make up for these guys not hitting tournament winning upside. And another part of this lineup that stood out, $3,100 defense, hit over 4x the salary. So, we continue to say you don't want to pay up for defenses in cash games, but in large field GPPs, you do, because these are the defenses that win more times than not. And really, you need an outlier performance from a defense because you need to score a lot of points across all 9 roster spots to win a large field GPP. So this was the 8th time this season when we saw a winning Milly Maker lineup feature a DST over 3,000. And then last thing, so ceiling and kind of how it all ties in, right? You need high ceiling to win a large field GPP like the Milly Maker. But when we looked at the Vegas lines early on in the week, you saw a bunch of 40-point projected game totals. Really it was a foreshadowing of what was to come. And, if you kind of stuck to quarterback +2, you probably didn't do very well. And we had a lot of low game totals. So it was a situation where you probably tried to force it. So, on a slate where most of the best teams had little to play for, and even when they did, they rested their starters as they were grinding out the clock to a victory. We don't need to do a whole lot to beat the Arizona Cardinals, like for, San Fran, for example. We can obviously expect lower fantasy scores, and that's what happened. This was the second lowest score on the season, 198 points. Week 11, we had 197 points. Despite, very high scores of 284, 268, 272 twice, we had many weeks under 250 points, actually 11 weeks under 250 points. And that brought the seasonal average to 240 points. So not coincidentally, the lower scoring weeks usually coincided with skinnier stacks, and higher scoring weeks had thicker stacks, which really brings into question your general strategy going forward for large field GPPs. And we're going to get into that because you will see with a lot of the top DFS pros is they will do a combination of quarterback +1, quarterback +2. I don't know exactly what they're doing in their optimizer, but I can guess maybe you're going to do 75 lineups. These are MME pros, right? 75 lineups, quarterback +1. Maybe you're going to do 75 lineups, quarterback +2. Or, you're just going to let it ride, at least quarterback +1. Maybe you get some quarterback +2 or whatnot. But you do see a combination of both. And, kind of what I was alluding to with these scores, you'll see most weeks when the scores are lower, it's quarterback +1. Like, look at this, 210, quarterback +1. 244, quarterback +1. Still under the 250 average that you shoot for to win the Milly Maker. 224, quarterback +1 and a bring back. However, when you saw the higher weeks, 255, 272, 268, quarterback +2, quarterback +2, quarterback +2, this one had a bring back. Lower, 238, quarterback plus bring back. 197, quarterback plus wide receiver and a bring back. 227, quarterback plus a running back. 229, quarterback plus a wide receiver plus bring back, 272 quarterback +2 plus a bring back. So something to keep in mind if you can properly project how the games are going to go. You have an edge for sure on, if you're really good at projecting the total game totals, that really tells you how you should build your DFS lineups to take down a large field GPP like the Milly Maker. So, that said, we're going to look at some of the top pros and what they did. One of the people I want to start with first is Papa Gates. And I believe this is the first time that I've done a review on Papa Gates this year. But Papa Gates is a top 10 DFS pro and had a positive ROI week in the Milly Maker. So I wanted to take a look at his strategy. So he had quarterback +1 and bring back wasn't forced. A lot of quarterback +1, as you see here, with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and no Patriot bring backs. But also, as we'll see, there was some quarterback +2. So top lineup, 120% total ownership, 168 points, which, good for this week, right? 144 fourth in the Milly Maker, a low scoring week. So just 30 points behind first place. So he had a couple sacks, Allen to Diggs, and then a secondary sack of Moss and Cooks, game stack there. And then one-offs, Algier, Sutton, Goddard, and Najee. And then, of course, Washington D. So here we see a quarterback +1 and a bring back. So wasn't forced, but in this case, we had a quarterback +1 with a bring back. Same thing, right? Josh Allen to Diggs, no bring back this time. Now, Russell Wilson, Judy, and Cortland Sutton. No bring back on the Los Angeles side. Judy, and Sutton. Got Zach Moss and Indy D. Now, this time had a quarterback +2 with a bring back with Josh Allen. So Allen, Diggs, Knox, and Jacoby Myers bring back. So, wasn't forcing bring backs, but they were there, and it had a combination of quarterback +1 and quarterback +2. Now, this is something I noticed with a lot of the pros who had a better week. A lot of Josh Allen, a lot of Russell Wilson. And the thought process for the Bills was they needed to win that game, and New England needed to win that game. So they both needed to win that game. So these teams are going to be going all out. And it's Josh Allen, arguably the best quarterback in the game, fantasy football wise, for sure, arguably the best. And then Russell Wilson, I thought that was a sharp play because you had saw that once they fired Nathaniel Hackett, they brought in Jerry Rosberg, and they were going to do more of what Russell Wilson does well. So they changed the offense, they were running the ball more, they're taking shots deep, but just doing a lot more things to get Russell Wilson comfortable. So, and it was a game against the Chargers, obviously at home. And the thing is you probably thought the Chargers were going to lay down, right? But it ended up being a sharp play nonetheless, because the Broncos and Russell Wilson ended up winning the game and doing really well with the sack. So you had Allen, you had Russell Wilson, and then, that was pretty much it. Everyone else was very low owned as far as the quarterbacks. And then, just cramming in value running back plays. And this is something I think you can take going forward. If you're going to play week 18, with all the uncertainty, it's like, just play the backup quarterbacks or backup running backs that we're going to get a lot of volume, and and be willing to go over the field on these guys because they're cheap. It's really not going to hurt you a ton. But obviously, if they smash, it really sets your lineup to leverage the field and be the top of the leaderboards. So Zach Moss, Tyler Algier, Alvin Kamara, Gary Brentwell, very surprising. 14%. He was a backup to Breida, but only 1% of the field had him. Lats Murray was a good play. He had a good day. Miles Sanders, over the field there. I thought Miles Sanders would do better than he did, but it's just maddening trying to predict the Eagles' backfield in any given week. Good luck with that. A little over the field on Cam Akers. He was a good play too. Had a good day. Under on Najee, under on Kenneth Walker. And then, so obviously, if you have 66% Allen and 16% Wilson, you're going to get quite a bit of the pass catches. So those are the two highest exposures. Cortland Sutton, very cheap, 4,800. So 60% exposure there, way over the field. And he got a touchdown, saved the day. So Stephon Diggs had a good day. He got a touchdown deep with Josh Allen as well. Gabe Davis, we continue to play him because has one of the highest ADOTs in the league, but he doesn't get a lot of, he gets a lot of opportunities, but has not produced in a while. But we're going to continue to play him at his low salary because he has that kind of ceiling type game that'll break a slate, especially at that kind of salary. Jerry Jeudy, 26%, Deontay, quite a bit of Deontay, and then some Jacoby Myers, obviously in bringbacks. He was cheap. He does get a lot of targets. Tutu Atwell. I was tilting a little bit because I was like, I got entirely too much Tutu Atwell in my builds. And then, of course, he scores a touchdown at 3,400. And I was like, damn, I should just left it in there. This is how it goes. Under on Jamar Chase, under on AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, DK. So, with the exception of Stephon Diggs, just fade in the expensive wide receivers, and especially on a Week 18 slate with all the uncertainty, I totally see the merit to doing that. And playing Dawson Knox, playing Freiermuth, definitely some double tight end lineups here with this much exposure. Not a ton, but enough. Maybe 10% or whatever. Maybe David Njoku, Hunter Henry. And then defenses and good matchups. This was going against David Blau. We got Philly going against Davis Webb. Seattle going against Baker. And Miami going against Joe Flacco. So totally understand that. So the fantasy bros, definitely some top DFS pros, but most weeks when I did look their MME strategy up in the Milly Maker wasn't a positive ROI week. So okay. This time around, however, they did well. So we have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. No bring back. Was forced. So what they had was Josh Allen, Diggs, stack, likely Goddard, Walker, Ellinger, Judy, Cooks, and Minnesota D, 124%, 174 points total. So there was a lot of quarterback +1, and really it was just Allen and Diggs, and there was no bringbacks. Now there was some quarterback +2 as well, but the quarterback +1 was Allen and Diggs. Every time there was a quarterback +1. Now also there was McKenzie in there too. So as I said, there was some quarterback +2. So sometimes you saw a bring back, sometimes you didn't. And again, I think the common theme of this slate is lower scoring. That's what the Vegas line said it would be, and nobody's sharper than Vegas. So, not forcing the QB +2. At times, it works, and especially because you have a $3,500 Isaiah McKenzie. You're not having a Stephon Diggs and, a Gabe Davis when he was higher priced, for example. You got some cheap plays there. So Allen and Diggs. This one got Justin Jefferson in there, but pay downs are running back. Tyler Algier. The thought process here, probably playing Elijah Mitchell, which he smashed, was, he's going to eat into Christian McCaffrey's workload. You know, they need Christian McCaffrey for the playoffs. They don't need him this week. So we got Allen and Diggs here, this time with the Jacoby Myers bring back. But there's Henry, Stephon Diggs, and Josh Allen, but no bring back there. So you see a combination, of course, of QB +1 and QB +2. And, you know, he pulled a whistles. The whistles go woo, just with 100% exposure to Josh Allen. And, you know, I respect that on this slate. It was so hard to figure out, okay, what does this team have to play for? What does the team they're playing have to play for? Are they lying down like with Cincinnati and Baltimore, who wasn't playing Lamar Jackson, wasn't playing Tyler Huntley, played Anthony Brown because they had nothing to play for? So, you know, you worried about that game not being competitive. However, with Buffalo and New England, you knew they both were playing for. Buffalo's playing for the number 2 seed. New England's playing for a playoff spot. So you knew that game was going to be back and forth. So just went ahead and locked in Josh Allen. And obviously we're going to get a lot of exposure to, you know, Stephon Diggs in that scenario. And then another player, Kenneth Walker, 100% exposure. So it's very rare that I've seen DFS pros using 100% exposure to a running back. But yeah, he did it in this play, in this spot. So Tyler Algier, high exposure to 57%. Zach Moss over the field, you know, over the field on Elijah Mitchell. And then, you know, decent amount of exposure to Najee under the field, and then way under the field on Akers as well. %, exposure to Stephon Diggs. So QB +1 made a rule, right? QB +1 stack Josh Allen with no less than one of Stephon Diggs. That's how we do it in the domination station at DFS Army. Isaiah McKenzie over the field there. You know, not forced again, but no less than QB +1. Isaiah McKenzie's getting in there too, and some QB +2, especially because the value was just so good. Probably would have had an awesome day had he not played Justin Jefferson. Had he unfriended him entirely. And then, you know, was under the field on Garrett Wilson, but played Corey Davis and Elijah Moore instead. Played some Sutton, some Rashid Shaheed, and then, yeah, way under the field on Wilson, and also under the field on Jamar Chase, Drake London, Amari Cooper. Dallas Goedert. So over on Goedert, likely was a smash spot just because he had looked so good all year. And, you know, 2,800 once Mark Andrews was rolled out. You got a third string quarterback with no real wide receivers. It's a good spot to play, you know, a tight end like Isaiah Likely, because young quarterbacks, they like to target tight ends. Hunter Henry, 15%. So 1, 2, 3, 4 guys over 15%. A couple guys over 10%. Trey McBride and Albert, 0 catches. 0 catches. Under on Higbee, good fade. %, Minnesota defense. They were chalk, but that is how you get leverage, because if they're going to be 11% owned, you're going to be that much higher than the field, 61% owned. And, you know, it's going against Nathan Peterman. So pretty good play there overall, given the matchup. All right, so we're going to finish this out. A couple more pros. We'll save the best day for last. So it was good to see Chipotle Attic, because obviously everybody knows Chipotle Attic is one of the top DFS pros, but hasn't had a lot of great weeks this year in the Milly Maker. So it was nice to see a positive ROI day for Chipotle Attic. Top lineup: Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton stack. No bring back, of course, on the Los Angeles Chargers side. just a very cheap stack. And, Judy really and Wilson smashed. Cortland Sutton didn't get there, but he really didn't hurt you because he was only 4,800. More Wilson and Judy and Sutton. This one, Allen, Diggs, Gabe Davis, their Hunter Henry bringback. So far, we are seeing quarterback +2. However, so quarterback +2 and a bringback again. I do believe he had some quarterback +1 as well. As we see here, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs with a Hunter Henry bringback. Let's see if a bringback was forced in all these lineups. So far, the top ones, they were Josh Allen plus Stephon Diggs, so we're not forced here. Okay, we'll take a look at some exposures. Josh Allen, 50%, Russell Wilson, 13%. So that was pretty consistent with most of the pros that we're looking at today. Allen, Wilson, Jalen Hurts. And it's crazy. I watched that game. Jalen Hurts played the whole game. He just didn't have a good game, which was good, that, in my opinion, that they got him to play because he looked rusty. So hopefully shook that rust off in time for the first round of the playoffs. So Allen, Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Tyler Algier, Zach Moss. So a lot of the value running backs, that's high, 70% on Algier and Moss. Kamara gotten to be cheap, 6,600. Akers over the field there, Kenneth Walker. But mainly Algier and Zach Moss, cheap. Play some Jonathan Williams as well, 16%. And then just slightly under on Najee, under on McCaffrey. Cortland Sutton, Stephon Diggs. Not surprised, right? A lot of Allen, a lot of Wilson. And then especially Sutton because he was just so cheap. So Diggs, Tutu Atwell. A lot of Tutu Atwell, 20%. I guess I need to just let it ride a little bit more when Tutu Atwell type comes up in the domination station. Deontay, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, AJ. So just a lot of wide receiver exposure. Just spreading it out. Really high on Sutton and Diggs, but after that, just a lot of guys in the teens. Spreading out exposures. Amari Cooper, Wilson, DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase. Freiermuth, a lot of Freiermuth and Henry, mainly Freiermuth, way over the field there. Some Knox, some Goddard. So, yeah, definitely some double tight end builds. All right. Now, I believe this is the second week in a row Utica been filling himself. Been doing good in the Milly. Who knows? We got the playoff slates coming up. Maybe he'll take one of these down before the year's over. But this is a top 25 lineup in the Milly Maker. Positive ROI a day, 33 hundo. So, top lineup, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, no bring back. We have Zach Moss, NDD, Williams, which is crazy, right? If he smashed this lineup, would have been fantastic. At 4,300. So Williams, Judy, Garrett Wilson, Isaiah Likely, and Cam Akers. So, decent lineup across the board. Jonathan Williams just was terrible. and Jarrett Patterson looked way better. I was definitely tilting on this, but it is what it is. Fantastic lineup, top 25 in the Milly Maker, 122% total ownership, just, 22 points away from first place. Had some Wilson QB +1 again, which is what we're seeing. A lot of QB +1 lineups. No bring back there. And it's no surprise the top performing DFS Pro of the day had a quarterback +1. That was the majority of the lineups. And, that's what took down the Milly Maker QB +1. There was a bring back, but if you had a QB +1, you had a great day in large field GPPs, in small tournaments, everything. There was some QB +2, of course, but a lot of QB +1, especially with the more higher priced guys. So, same thing, right? Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. And it's pretty crazy. A lot of the pros, this was their mix. It was Josh Allen, 50+%, Wilson in the teens, their exposures. A little bit, every other quarterback was under 10%. So, not a lot there. Everywhere else across the board. Jonathan Williams. It's pretty crazy that the best DFS Pro of the day had high exposure on Jonathan Williams, and he was terrible that day. Nonetheless, it didn't matter if you had the other right pieces. So Joe Mixon got a touchdown. He definitely wasn't great at 7,100. Algier, Miles Sanders. Nope. Could have done without Miles Sanders. Lats Murray had a pretty good day. So, being over the field there. Almost even on Najee, and then a little under on Cam Akers. And then over on Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Cortland Sutton, Chris Olave, Jamar Chase. A lot of exposure to Diggs, mainly. Cooper, a lot there too, and Sutton. Over on Jamar Chase, he got a touchdown. They didn't do nearly enough on offense, but not a horrible day from Jamar Chase. Obviously, he was in the winning Milly Maker build. That's how it goes. Obviously, would have liked to have had less of DK Metcalf, myself included. Under on AJ and under on Justin Jefferson. So really if you were under on Justin Jefferson and you had no Christian McCaffrey exposure, which he did not. I mean, fantastic day. Really, those were two landmines that you wanted to avoid on this slate. So Isaiah Likely, smash spot, late news. That's what the top DFS pros do. They're all over it. Pat Fryermuth, some Henry, some Jelani Woods, Goddard. And then let's see what he did at defense. Kind of spreading exposures out, and specifically on a crazy slate, week 18, you don't really know. It's all over the place. Just get exposure everywhere. Washington, Cleveland, Denver, Atlanta, LA, Dallas. Just nothing crazy high. Just very spread out. Smash for you to count 3,300. I think that's going to do it for this week of our Milly Maker and MME strategy review. Like I said, we're all done for the Milly Maker this year. We have a lot, obviously, we can take into next year looking at these trends. We will continue to cover that, of course. And then, like I said, I'm going to continue to do the MME strategy of DFS Pros as we look at the playoff slate. So stay tuned. Best of luck this week. If you like this kind of content, be sure to comment. Definitely hit that like button, hit that notification button so that you never miss an episode. Continue, especially as we go live, as we do the tournament tactics for this 3-game slate, the 6-game slate, whichever slate you're looking at. And right now we're doing a lot of back testing on 3-game slate. So if you are a DFS Army subscriber, you have access to that as it's VIP. If not, use code FantasyFling for 10% off a VIP subscription. So you have access to these back testing videos that Geek is going through right now, so we can take down the wild card weekend, keep the big wins coming. Let's do it. Wish you all the best of luck this week. We will see you next week.